United States veterans, the individuals who have put their entire lives on the line for our country. The individuals who arrive home to the country that they risk their lives for, only to find that they have been abandoned. They're confused. They have no idea how to resume their pre-military lives. We, as Americans, owe these individuals our support in any way possible. How would you feel if you were put in that situation? Without veterans, you wouldn't even have many of the freedoms that you have today. America is not assisting their veterans as adequately as they should be on many different spectrums, including health, employment, and housing. By changing a few simple things, America can make veterans' transition back into civilian life much easier. To begin, the United States of America is not taking care of its veterans' mental and physical health. Soldiers experience major losses, great fear, traumatic injuries, multiple relocations and deployments, and even sexual assault. These instances all lead to many common disorders that you see in veterans every day, including anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injuries, and even Parkinson's disease. Unfortunately, it is not uncommon for a veteran to commit suicide due to their poor mental and physical health. In fact, an article titled "Critical Issues Facing Veterans and Military Families" tells us that approximately 22 veterans die by suicide every day, and they comprise 20% of national suicides. If they were receiving the health care they need, there is no question that those rates would decrease a lot. One major issue with veteran health care is the fact that when a person needs special person-to-person care, they're just sent to a website because it's the cheaper option. There are hospitals meant specifically for veterans by the Veterans Administration, but there are only a few and they take a long time to access. One of the reasons for that being that they have to get all of their medical records from the military. The staff working at these facilities are also known to be experiencing a lack of passion, leading to not as good health care for the veterans. It is clear that both the physical and mental health of veterans need to be better taken care of. To continue, America is failing to aid their veterans in the employment category. Soldiers and other military personnel come home with the impression that the skills they've learned will be useful in civilian life, but that isn't the case. Their skills don't translate, plus potential employers have prejudices against veterans a lot of the times, like they're a ticking time bomb and they all have PTSD, or that they have problems with authority. Job fairs are held in an attempt to help unemployed veterans, but they don't really do much. They need to be more individualized. It's really hard to stand out when there's a ton of people that are the exact same as you. Also, the government needs to make an effort to better understand the demographics of unemployed veterans so that they can change and modify their programs and target the right people. Sudhi Bharadwaj of the Huffington Post states that many groups of vets still face higher unemployment than their civilian counterparts, including other older veterans, female veterans, Black, Hispanic, and Asian veterans, and they are disproportionately hit even harder by unemployment. These are the types of people who need the most help, and they need to see that. The government and private organizations also need to collaborate more in order to accurately share information and improve their policies. With just a little more effort, the U.S. could put a huge dent in veteran unemployment. Finally, the United States is not contributing enough to the cause of ending veteran homelessness. It is basic knowledge that every living thing requires shelter. Even so, the National Alliance to End Homelessness explains, in January 2016, communities across America identified 39,471 homeless veterans during point-in-time counts. People who are single or have no families most commonly end up homeless, as they don't have the home of a significant other or any relatives to return to. Unemployment, mental disorders, and substance abuse issues also increase the risk of a veteran becoming homeless. If a person goes directly into the military out of high school, he or she doesn't have the opportunity to establish their credit either. An option for homeless veterans is homeless shelters, but there are many problems with them. They're only temporary, and they have a bad reputation of filth and high levels of crime. According to New York Daily News, nearly every homeless person the Daily News interviewed Monday detailed stories of fighting, filth, and widespread thievery at all shelters. So those aren't really a feasible choice. Shelters need stricter rules for their inhabitants to follow so that other residents feel safer and are more inclined to come to shelters. Leaders trying to end homelessness need to make more connections with housing officials and encourage veterans themselves to do the same thing. In conclusion, are we easing our veterans' burdens like we should be? The answer is simple: no. It is clear to see that the United States of America is failing their veterans in more ways than one: health-wise, job-wise, and housing-wise. The transition from military culture back into civilian life is extremely difficult for these individuals, and they deserve to have their country behind them supporting them. Veterans have risked their entire lives for every person in the United States, after all. America, we have to do more. Veterans are arriving home constantly, and the time to help is now. Thank you.